What's up, y'all? What's good? What's good? This is Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesday, here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Thank you for joining me today. Greatly appreciate it. If you could, before we get started with this video, hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all of my Teachable Tuesdays videos. And without further ado, I want to talk to you guys about a very important topic that came to mind, and that is men's mental health. Now, in case you didn't know, which if you didn't know, don't feel bad, because I didn't find out about this until maybe like towards the end of May. This is Men's Mental Health Month, where we celebrate, men's mental health and what we can do to improve men's mental health. The different resources that we can have out here as men, and how do we speak up? How do we talk when we need to talk? Who do we run to? In the words of Escape, the R&B group, if you know, and so on and so forth, right? Now, let me start off by saying I've talked about mental health on this channel a whole lot, right? And ladies, let me just put a disclaimer out there, because y'all know I talk about my fellas and my ladies. Please, I need everybody to share this video, but especially my ladies, because there's some things I'm going to address that you may possibly or may not possibly know about men's mental health, and the reason why we operate the way that we do when it comes to our mental health, and how you can support us. And for my fellas, hopefully I can give some good input on what we can do to take care of our mental health, and so on and so forth, right? Now, the reason why men's mental health is really focused on this month in particular, and a lot more in general than it used to be, which, praise God for that, is because men, we come into this world knowing that we have to show up every single day. Every single day. No ifs, ands, or buts in betweens. Now, I know you may be thinking, to my ladies who may be watching this, well, isn't that the case for everybody? Yes, in a sense. But the main difference is we, as a society, cater a lot more to women's mental health and, their stability in terms of emotions and stuff like that compared to men. Now, why is that the case? Well, one of the reasons is because masculine, or when you think about the definition of masculinity, one of the hidden, I guess you could say, definitions of masculinity, or maybe it's not so hidden, I don't know, you tell me, is the fact that a man is supposed to do what he got to do. That shows that a man is masculine. When he is doing what he has to do, no matter what adversity may strike, he's going to show up, he's going to be there, because he knows that if it doesn't get done, he's going to be in a world of hurt, right? Let's just keep it $150. When our ladies need support and help, they're going to get it one way or another. But with us, we might not necessarily get that, because society is going to look at us like, you a man. You got to show up. Figure it out. You made your bed, lie in it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not complaining about it, because at the end of the day, it is what it is. But it's one of those things to where I say this is why men's mental health is so important, right? A lot of times, a lot of us men do not feel like we have a safe space. And what do I mean by safe space? I mean a space in which we can talk about our problems without it being blown back on us later on in the future, right? Because here's the thing about both men and women. Society don't care about your problems. Just putting it out there. Your mama may care, your daddy may care, your closest friends may care, your spouse may care, your friends, I said already, your friends may care. God cares, most importantly. But society don't give two craps about it. And that's 2 times even more true, if not even 4 times more true for men, right? And a lot of times as men, we think to ourselves, when we're having so many issues, we keep it so embedded inside. We wonder to ourselves, whether we like to admit it or not, who can we talk to, right? A lot of men will go to their close friends. They're close guy friends because they're afraid, and ladies, this is no offense, but I think it's very true. They're afraid that if they talk to their ladies, it'll be blown back in their face. Or they're afraid that they'll be looked weak upon or looked upon as weak because of it. Now, you might be someone who's watching this video and you might say, well, I'll never do that to my man. I'll never look at him as weak because he is being, as we like to say, emotionally vulnerable. And you might be 1 in 1,000 that might not. But for every 1 in 1,000 that does not, there's another almost 1,000 that will not look at them as that strong man like they once did. I'm not saying it's right. You can feel free to disagree with me all you want. That's perfectly fine. But the truth is the truth, right? As men, we can complain to our parents. We can vent to our parents. But our parents are ultimately going to flip it back on us and say, hey, you here, what you going to do about it, right? It's tough. It's tough finding that safe space. I know for me, I've never been ashamed of opening my mouth and expressing how I felt. But I can definitely understand for some men why they might not want to. Because they feel like the second that they do, it's going to be looked down upon. Or I'll give you another scenario. Maybe they just never been taught how to do so, right? Maybe they grew up in a household. I grew up in a household where I was able to freely express myself with respect, right? Which is why I do that now for both men and women. Now, I obviously have different approaches to both, but that's just me. Not every man or man has done that, right? And you can't fault the man for not knowing that. Just like you can't fault anybody for not being taught something in their household or them not being taught something in their household. You know what I'm saying? So you may be asking $1 million question as a man or as a woman. Well, what can men do to take better care of their mental health, or maybe find a safe space or express themselves more? Well, number one, I would say as men, don't keep it bottled in. Find an outlet. Find something, right? Because when you keep your emotions bottled in, when you keep your mental bottled in, you're going through so many different challenges, what ends up happening is when it comes all out, it's going to be a mess. Because you've been holding all of that disappointment, that anger, that frustration, that those different emotions, mixed feelings, so many different things, right? So what could that outlet be? One outlet could be the gym. A lot of men use the gym as a way to cope with their mental health and also their emotional health. Finding a professional therapist, I think that's another way, right? And I think that's important for everybody, man or woman. I don't care who you are, who you identify as, what your religion is. Go see a therapist. Everybody needs one, all right? Even therapists need therapists, as my therapist has said, right? And that's very underrated, by the way. Talk to your guy friends. People who can relate to you. Not saying ladies can't relate to you on certain things, but as men, we see other stronger relations from other men, just like ladies see other stronger relations from other ladies. You know what I'm saying? Talk to your family. I think that's my number one source when it comes to people outside of my therapist. Like I said, talk to your parents. I mean, no, your parents are ultimately going to probably be like, well, what you going to do now? But still, you know what I'm saying? There's many sources that you have. Write it down in a journal. I know as kids we were taught, well, only girls keep journals and diaries and stuff. Nah, fellas. Let me tell you something. I've been writing in journals since I was a teenager. It is beneficial. I actually need to get back to it, doing it on the regular. I'm telling you, right? And just know, fellas, you're not struggling alone, okay? A lot of us men out here, and this is why, once again, we have Mental Health Month for men. Because a lot of us are dealing with a lot. When my world starts crumbling down, and I'm going to have a totally open and honest moment with y'all, I feel it. I work 2 jobs. I live in an amazing city. But I'm not going to lie, the cost of living just keeps going up. And it's not just here in Orlando, it's everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I go through my own challenges from a mental and emotional and spiritual standpoint. I struggle with being alone sometimes. You know, dating has been a bit tough for me. Not going to sit here and lie. There's been a myriad of different things that have been showing up in my life. Stuff I don't even talk about in this channel. Stuff I don't even talk about to most people outside of God himself and my therapist. But you know what? In spite of it all, I know that at the end of the day, I have to show up. I have to make it do what it do. And on one end, as a man, I understand that's what's expected of me. But if I'm being completely transparent, on the other end, it gets tough sometimes. Because you get tired of just showing up. And not because you don't want to show up, but because you're showing up knowing that every day the weight gets heavier and heavier and heavier. And I understand some YouTube gurus out here, social media gurus will be quick to say, man up, that's what you're supposed to do. I get it. That is what we're supposed to do. That doesn't mean it always feels good. Take care of yourselves, y'all. It's not easy out here. And it's very difficult oftentimes to be in that space to where you know it's going to be okay. Because at the end of the day, the truth is, it is going to be okay. It is going to work out. It always does. But in that moment, I understand that it may not always feel too great. You know, meditation is another thing. That's something else I need to get back into. Fellas, meditate. You know what I'm saying? Get to a space where your spirit is just, you know, free for a bit, you know? Clear your mind. Now I know some people will argue, well, aren't you a Christian? Why do you meditate? Blah, blah, this and blah, blah. Look, there ain't nothing in the Bible, as far as I know, that says there's anything wrong with meditation. In fact, prayer is a form of meditation. Now, if you can find me a scripture that proves otherwise, feel free to let me know. I'm not always right, but as far as I know, there's nothing in the Bible that says that. The one thing I'll say for my fellas, and this kind of goes for anybody, but I'm talking to my fellas specifically right now, is be sure to find a way to regulate your mental. Some of the examples that I've given are good ways to do it. There are definitely other ways. And whatever you do, like I said before, don't keep it bottled in, right? And for my ladies, any ladies who are watching this video, you might be wondering, well, I have a boyfriend or a husband or a father or a son, a cousin, a friend. How can I help out with his mental? Simple. Couple things. Number one, be there for them. Provide a space of peace for them. All right? Just like we provide protection and provision for y'all in different ways, depending on the level of, who you are to us. Do that for him. Always have an open, available space to him. He may not talk to you about it, but be there to listen when he is ready. For my ladies who are a girlfriend or a wife, don't throw it back in his face. Okay? I've heard many stories of men who have vented to women, and the women would throw it right back in that man's face when an argument came up or a bad predicament. Don't do that. Don't do that, because I'm telling you right now, if you do that, he is never going to open up his mental to you. But if you listen and really soak in what he's saying, and you're there to help, he might not even need any help. He just might need you to listen. Just like, sometimes y'all don't need no advice. Y'all just need us to listen and hear you out. Same thing. Okay? To my mamas out there, don't be quick to tell that boy or that man, oh, you better man up. Showing your feelings. It's not your place. You are supposed to provide a nurturing experience for that young man. And for the man who's a grown man, I wouldn't say necessarily provide nurturing experience for him, but because he's grown. But you know what I'm saying? Provide that loving experience. The one thing I love about my stepmom and my mom is the fact that if I ever vent to them, they provide a loving experience for me. You know what I'm saying? And it's much appreciated. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mother. Thank you for being one of my safe spaces. A lot of people will come in here and say, oh, well, women can't be a safe space for men. They can. But the ladies got to be willing to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm bringing all this up just so, as a whole, I'm hoping that we can have a better understanding on men's mental health and the importance of it. All right? I love you guys. My fellas, no matter how hard it gets, keep your head up. Keep God first. And remember, your mental health matters. Don't ever let anyone ever tell you that you don't matter, that your mental and emotional state does not matter. It does. And if it don't matter to them, it most certainly matters to God, and it also matters to me. All right? I love you guys. Next year, I'm going to do a men's mental health series this month. Now that I know that June is men's mental health awareness month, yeah, I'm going to be on it. All right, well, this video has gone on long enough. If you stayed it to the end and you're not subscribed to the channel and you liked it, give it a subscribe. You know what I'm saying? We getting real close to the 400 subscribers. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get to 500 minimum by the end of the year. So, yeah, help out with that. Appreciate it. But anyways, this is Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays, here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Love you guys, and the darn thing you can do about it. Till next time. Peace.